Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people who bust them, and everybody else in between. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. The craziness, the insanity. I thought March Madness was done. Aren't we in April right now? Los Angeles Lakers up on the Pelicans right now by 4 with 40 seconds remaining. The Pels have just cut the lead to 2. 104-102, 38.2 left in this basketball game. The Lakers were up by double digits in the second half. They were up by 10 at the half. And then they were starting to pull away in the third quarter. But for whatever reason, the Los Angeles Lakers stopped doing everything that they did to get the lead, right? They're like a football team that are like picking a team apart, throwing the ball. And then they go into shutdown mode and they start like running the ball. It's like, guys, there's a lot of football left, right? And that's what the Lakers did. I saw it. I'm like, guys, like really? It was like midway through the third quarter of play, the Lakers are starting to walk the ball up the court all the time. So you're winning the game because this quick tempo that's going on, and the Pelicans are overwhelmed and they're falling apart, and you let the Pelicans back in the game. But we got a 2-point game here right now. I'm on the Lakers +1, and I'm on the over of this game. It doesn't look like the game's going to go over the number. If it goes to overtime, it will. It might go to overtime, but it's going to be a real death blow if the Pelicans come back and win this game somehow, and the game stays under the number. But great game, wild stuff. Zion Williamson left the court with like 30 seconds. He left the court about a minute and a half ago or so, just as they were coming back. He threw a towel on the way out. I don't know what happened. He landed kind of awkwardly. So this stuff's pretty lit. Gonna like this though. It's like big time pressure right now. LeBron's like laughing with a fan. LeBron's like talking to somebody, like laughing it up. It's like everybody's all tensed out. LeBron's like, yeah, whatever. I've been in bigger games. I've been in bigger games. So 104-102, 38 seconds left. The officiating has been whacked. Like there's been a lot of just, what a shock. Everything is being overanalyzed. It takes forever. And so we'll keep our eye, obviously, on this, but let's get to the other LA team. And shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. So the Los Angeles Dodgers lost last night to the Washington Nationals. They were big-time favorites. I know it sounds cliche, but even, the best teams in baseball are going to lose 62 times, right? So, the Dodgers aren't going to win every game that they play in, but you would imagine they're in a bounce-back spot tonight. They're already kind of thin as far as their arms are concerned. They're hurt, literally and figuratively. They're rolling out hurt tonight against Patrick Corbin. The Dodgers are -275 favorites. The total is 9.5. I think the Dodgers will win this game. So we've got the Dodgers. We play all our player props, but I didn't get the player props in yet because I'm so tied up in everything that's going on here right now, including the NHL. So the Lakers have the ball right now. There's 20 seconds left. Braun's got the ball, and he's not in a good spot. That wasn't a good shot that he just took. And AD just saved him. That's what AD does. Batman and Robin. Batman gets the credit. Robin's the one taking the body blows in the paint, right, from Penguins goons. LeBron had the ball, and he did his weird little sort of fadeaway. Like, as good as LeBron is, he puts himself in a lot of bad spots in must-shoot situations. Like, he just tossed an air ball. Like, in a critical, you're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. You said, give me the ball, I'm LeBron James, and you tossed an air ball. And there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line. This stuff is pretty intense. Man, this is what the playoffs are going to be like. This stuff's going to be pretty lit. So the Vancouver Canucks, we know the Canucks are going to the playoffs, but they haven't won a division yet. They just need a single point over their next 2 games. They want to get this out of the way. They got Thatcher Demko back tonight to get the Calgary Flames. So the Canucks are going to definitely just want to get a point, but they're going to want to win a game. And I think they will, but it's just something to note that the Canucks do only need a single point. But I would expect them to win the game tonight. I also expect Vegas to beat Chicago in the NHL. So there's an NHL parlay, Captain Chalk style. So AD, those were big free throws. He just made both of them. If he doesn't he misses both of them. It's a 2-point game. He only hits one of them, and the Pelicans can tie the game with a 3. He drilled them both. All right, so you hit them both. It's a 4-point game right now. 14.8 left. There's a timeout. Lakers up by 4. So we're going to take the Dodgers. We've also parlayed the Dodgers and Canucks to win the game. Here's an interesting one. It was only like minus 130 or something like that. It wasn't even that bad. Dodgers to win the game and the Vancouver Canucks plus a .5. Knowing that, I'm also parlaying the Vancouver Canucks with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Canucks with the Dodgers, but just a little bit of insurance with the Canucks at plus 1.5 as well in case the game does go to overtime, which is a possibility. We saw tonight in the National Hockey League. This stuff has been lit and crazy. And one thing that's pretty cool, and Andrew McKinnon's going to step up and join us, although we can't do it anymore. It was just one of those, like the last 2 nights, and anyone following me on Twitter knows, the last 2 nights, like these games, teams needed, like there was all kinds of crazy scenarios. Right? It was like teams needed the point, they needed the regulation, they need this, they need that. And like the Red Wings and the Canadians were a good example. Like we drilled the in-game overs of these games two nights in a row, knowing that the Red Wings were desperate to score and would pull the goalie and do whatever the hell it takes to try to win the hockey game. Philadelphia Flyers, same thing tonight, although somehow there was no empty net goal that ended up being scored in the Philly Washington game. But it's all done right now in Eastern Conference. There's still some jockeying going on at the top. But we know who the wild card is. The Washington Capitals nailed down the spot, despite the fact that the Detroit Red Wings scored with 4 seconds left to keep their dreams alive tonight. Epic stuff. But it wasn't enough as the Washington Capitals end up beating the Philadelphia Flyers. And it's kind of crazy. The Flyers pulled their goalie. Now, I said it wasn't an empty net goal. I should have said it wasn't the other one to go over to 3.5. It was 1-1, but the Flyers needed to win in regulation. So they pulled their goalie with like 3 minutes left, and Washington scored. And Washington just needed the win no matter what to get into the playoffs. Like the Capitals were gift-wrapped a playoff spot tonight with 3 minutes left in a game. It's like, yeah, it's a tie game. We need to win to get into the playoffs. But we can win in overtime, and it's still good for us. But the team we're playing needs to win in regulation, so they pull the goalie, and we score in the empty net. Wild stuff tonight in the NHL, man. All right, so the Washington Capitals are in the playoffs. The Vancouver Canucks trying to wrap up the division tonight, and we've got a couple of big parlays going on. 4-point game, 6 seconds left. 2-point game, 3 seconds left. They're running out of racetrack. So we got up to 2:14 here right now. 108, 106, 3 seconds left. The Lakers with the ball. Oh, my God. They nearly turned it over, but it's a foul. AD's going to be going to the free throw line with 2.7 seconds left. We got a full house on the show. McKinnon steps up into the Ranger Redhead, Ken Stewart, Sean Higgs, and we attack the NFL draft with Rick Saratella. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. We're on the Golden State Warriors to win this basketball game. And let's go over the number. Let's roll.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. the Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit, I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
This sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday has begun. This is SportsRage. Let's roll. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. The Los Angeles Lakers are advancing, and they will take on the Denver Nuggets, despite the idiocy of some people out there who were talking about the Lakers potentially trying to lose this game deliberately to force themselves to play in another play-in game to avoid playing the Denver Nuggets and to get the Oklahoma City Thunder instead. Clearly, LeBron James and AD aren't as stupid as some people in the media are. And the Lakers win the game 110-106. Zion Williamson left the game with like a minute and a half left or 2 minutes or whatever. It was a tie game. And we should note Zion was a freaking freight train tonight. This guy, I tell you what, say what you will about Zion Williamson. And he's not really a bust or anything like that. He's been good. It's just he was hyped up as like a mega next superstar. But I'll tell you, he changed in mid-season. He hired his own dietitian. You can tell, like, he's lost a lot of weight. His conditioning was fine. Like tonight, this guy was on the court. He was running up and down the court. He was making plays. I mean, the guy had 40 freaking points. All right, he was unstoppable. Soft hands too in the paint, not just dunks and stuff. Next year is the real deal for him because it'll be the first time in his career that he's going to come into a season, have an off season in which he's not banging porn stars and eating popcorn. And he's going to be ready to go next year. Keep your eye on Zion Williamson next year to light it up. So the Vancouver Canucks and the Flames have just begun. The Canucks need a single point to clinch the Pacific Division this evening. They need a single point over the next two games only, but it'd be a good idea to nail it down now so you can shut things down on Thursday night. Let's bring in Andrew McKinnis right now. Cam Stewart in the house. McKinnis, how you doing tonight?
Guys, I'm excited. We're doing very well. How are you guys doing?
I'm all right. I wish the Laker game would have went over the number, but I was on the Lakers. So we have the Warriors coming up right now. McKinnis, what's your pick here for the Flames and the Canucks and the Knights and the Blackhawks?
Knights and Blackhawks, I didn't get involved. If I was to play it, I would look towards the under. I just feel like closing out the season, this Vegas team wants to look towards low-scoring games, focus on defense. And the Blackhawks right now, they're a two-man band. I'm not seeing much offense out of them against teams like Vegas. Canucks, to me, I think they get the job done. But this late in the season, I'm looking at puck lines. I want value. I'm not usually a puck line better. As you guys know, I'm usually a team totals guy, but I like the value here getting on the puck line. It's a pretty good number here. And for them, I think this is going to be a strong performance. They know it's playoff time. They have to get ready. I mean, they have to treat this game as if it's a playoff game already. So, Gabe, I'm involved on the plus money. I got plus 125. Canucks laying the goal and a half.
My only concern about the Canucks is knowing that they know they only need a single point this evening to clinch the division to move forward. Cam, what are your late night hockey picks here?
I have a 4-game parlay, Morency. Vancouver Canucks to the over versus Calgary, and Vegas to the over 6. So I did 4 games, one individually. I also, like McInnes, have Vancouver on the puck line. I'm not sure about the total in that game, but I love the over. I love the over in the Calgary-Vancouver game for the fact that Calgary's defense reeks. Every game they've been in has been a track meet recently. So I think the Canucks can get 5, Calgary maybe 3. We get a 5-3 type of game, and we'll collect some money. I'm also on the Oakland A's in baseball because I have a problem, and that's about it. And these guys told me to bet Sacramento tonight. I originally had Golden State, and I'm having buyers. I don't know what to do with this game, Morency. I'm conflicted. I think a lot of people are on Golden State, but I'm going to play this one live. I got a feeling the Kings show up tonight, but that's more of a bad feeling. And you know how my dreams go. Usually they're very wrong in my predictions.
Well, as far as the total is concerned in this game, I'll disagree with the over in this Calgary-Vancouver game. But it's 5.5 in-game right now. Something you said, McInnes, about the Canucks are trying to get into playoff mode. They've been in playoff mode. The Canucks have tightened things up quite a bit. So you've got Demko back here this evening. They just missed a one-timer here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Calgary don't score a lot of goals here tonight, McInnes, to be honest. I think Vancouver are in lockdown mode, getting ready for the postseason. They don't want to play a 5-3 game. They want to score 5 goals, but they don't want to give up 3.
No, most certainly not, Gabe. When you think about when Frederik Andersen came back for the Carolina Hurricanes, think about how that team played for him his first few games, right? We heard all the concerns about has he not played too long? Is he going to be rusty? Is he ready to go again? Well, guys, look at how Freddie Andersen's played. Look at the numbers he has. I think Demko will be just fine. But I think that they're going to rally around him defensively, just like they've been talking about, and continue to kind of protect him. So, and this is a team, Gabe, as you mentioned, they've gotten better at when they get leads, protecting it. And that's going to be the deal come playoff time, is that a lot of teams that are good at doing that, like Carolina and New York, for me, I've already locked in a bet here, guys, minus 135. Carolina wins game 1 and wins the series, combo bet together, because I think Carolina is like a big brother of New York. They're the same team, but Carolina is just better at every single thing they do. They play a low-scoring game. They play defensively. They have good goaltending. But I think that's the thing right now with Vancouver. They have a good goalie. They got him back. Got him healthy. They got to protect him now, and they got to protect it.
Andrew McInnes in the house with us. I'm just getting these Dodger prop bets in. I didn't think I was going to have time to do it, but I just did. So Mookie, they're just a typical. Mookie bets over 1.5 total bases. Freeman over 1.5 total bases. And Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. Patrick Corbin on the hill here tonight for the Nationals. There's not a lot of history between with him. It's weird. You figure he would have faced the Dodgers more than he has. Mookie Betts has only seen him, I think, 12 times or something, 12 at-bats. Freddie Freeman's seen him a bit. But for the most part, there's not a lot to take as far as past history is concerned with Corbin and the Dodgers bats this evening. It is interesting. Freddie Freeman's hitting .296, but he's putting in a lot of extra work. Like, he feels like he's not hitting the ball well. So it'll be interesting to see if he steps it up, because I know the last 2 days he's put a lot of work in. Like, he even stayed after the game last night and hitting the batting cage. It's funny because he's hitting .296. He's not hitting .196. Hit .296, and he's panicked like, oh, I got to be better. That's the bar that the Dodgers set for themselves. So the Lakers win this game tonight. McInnes, we've got the Warriors and the Kings coming up. For the record, I'm on the Golden State Warriors in this game. I think the Warriors are going to win the game. I took them on the money line because it wouldn't surprise me if it's close. A lot of Sacramento games are close, but I think the Warriors are going to win. I just lost betting the over in this last game, but I'm going to go back to it once again. It's a little lighter here at 222 here. We're going with the over. We're also going with Steph Curry over 28.5 points scored and Sabonis over 18.5 points scored. What's your pick for this NBA game coming up?
Gabe, usually I've been coming on your show and I tell you I'm low volume. Not tonight, man. I got quite a few for you across multiple different sports. I'm locked and loaded. I like the over in this one, though. I had Lakers first half money line in the first game. This one, I do like the over. I know I've seen so many reports, so many articles about how the game gets so much more defensive in the playoffs when these games matter. No doubt about it. But can we all agree it's been quite an overreaction in this game? These two teams love to play fast plays. We got a lot of great three-point shooters, also players that draw fouls, get to the free throw line. Give me the over. It's way too much of an over adjustment here. I got Murray over 5.5 rebounds. I got Klay Thompson over 23.5 points and rebounds. Draymond Green under 16.5 points plus rebounds. Sabonis under 13.5 rebounds. Harrison Barnes over 5.5 assists. And
man, you went hardcore.
Wow.
McKinnis is attacking this tonight with his props this evening. One thing about it, it will tighten up eventually. Like, I don't think Miami and Philadelphia is going to be a track meet, but like the Sacramento Kings, they can't play slow. Like they won't win. Like they only know how to. What if you're Sacramento? The only way you're going to beat Golden State is trying to run these old dudes into the ground tonight and play up tempo basketball.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals, saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. Sports Rage continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Still scoreless right now in Vancouver. And I don't want to go against my buddy Cam Stewart, but I couldn't help it. I clicked the under 5.5 a couple of minutes ago.
I've had a great night. Columbus, Ottawa, and stupid McInnes's Canadians cost me a $1,200 parlay, but I did have them plus 1.5 singular. I've had a great night on the ice, so very happy tonight. I didn't bet the Leafs, which was smart.
Detroit
was the play. Overtime wins. All right, I got a bone to pick with. I mean, Gabe, you tried to talk me off a ledge one time with this, but I will stand on this hill. Getting a win in overtime should not be the same amount of points as a 60-minute win. It does not make any sense. Okay, good. You're a good 3-on-3 team. That's awesome. You're great in the shootout. That's not the same as a 5-on-5 team. It should not be the same.
Years. Have you been listening to the show? Me and Gabe have been talking this for 20 years. 3-2-1
But
system. Get it together.
You know, because of this, like the Islanders got into the playoffs, despite the fact that the Devils have more wins than they do, because the Islanders have 16 points in overtime losses and stuff. They get those points. Canucks are buzzing around, but they haven't punched it in yet. So it is what it is. So you had the Red Wings and the Canadians 2 nights in a row, and it's the one good thing. A lot of sports in the last night are real bitch to bet on, right? Like the last week in the NFL, whatever. Like a lot of these leagues, it's whacked out the last day. But these last 2 nights in the NHL have presented, like, I've been dialed in, like, you know what I mean? Like just watching, knowing the situation of each game. And McCann, it was 2 nights in a row. I don't know if you saw my tweets. Like the Red Wings and the Habs was a great example. Like last night it was 4-2 after 2 periods of play. The total was 8.5. It was like Detroit needed to win a regulation. So you knew they were going to throw the freaking kitchen sink at Montreal in the third period. You also knew they were going to pull their goalie, and they did. And I said last night on the show, I said the exact same thing will happen tomorrow night. I said it'll be close and Montreal will choke late in the game and Detroit's going to win again. And it's exactly what happened. But I will say this, and Flyers, I was watching the Flyer game and they were crying about the call. But the Red Wings scored with 4 seconds left. Last night they scored the last whatever. They did it again tonight. But they did it off of an icing call that shouldn't have been icing, right? The Red Wing players gambled and said whatever, because they knew they wouldn't have had time to get the puck and bring it down the ice. So they had no choice but to gamble. The referees let them off the hook, McInnes. Like, that shouldn't have been icing. The Red Wings, like, the puck was slow. The Red Wings made no effort to try to play the puck because they knew they were screwed if they touched it and there wasn't time. And then they get the damn icing call and they score after. It's crazy. Like, the hockey gods almost said, yeah, cute, but you're not getting in. Like, because of that. Yeah, you got to go all off a phantom icing call. But how about this, guys? The Washington Capitals get in. And this is where this stupid playoff format comes in, or the point format of games. The Capitals got in because the Philadelphia Flyers needed to win a regulation and keep their dream alive. It was a 1-1 game, and they pulled their goalie. And then the Capitals bury it, and they clinch a playoff spot, McKiss. It's insane how that worked out for them because the Flyers needed to win the game in regulation. But, hey, you put yourself in this position in the last game of the year. There's no excuses. It is what it is. But it was a wild night tonight in the NHL. But I love the last couple of nights for this in-game betting stuff, knowing the teams need to go all in to get goals.
You guys know that the movie The Hangover, when they need money and Alan's at the blackjack table and they show all the signs and the money in front of him? That's how I felt. I mean, this guy, you know, you're looking at, you're the manager of the Red Wings or the Islanders or the Penguins. You're trying to figure out what you need here, guys, to get in. And you know what? It's nobody else's fault but who? Themselves, right? All of a sudden, I got fan bases coming after me because my Canadians couldn't get the job done. They played back-to-back great games. They had 2 players make their debut. Don't blame me and my favorite team just because your team sucked during the year and couldn't get the wins.
The Canadians
they played
have been
back-to-back entertaining games.
Yeah, they've been good.
Well, they just lost 2 nights in a row, 5-4. That's not playing great.
No, they got points.
Gabe, did the Wings play back-to-back
We have a low bar of greatness.
Well, yes, we
They
do.
lost 2 nights in a row. That's not playing great.
Listen,
the
they
Red
went to
Wings play
overtime
great.
with the Islanders too. Like Canadians have been very, very competitive. They've been very
Gabe,
good.
did the Red Wings play great? Because you can't tell me they played great.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me
You're
they played great,
like every Canadian fan in Montreal that lines up, like, take my money even though they suck, and you have this ultra positive. They didn't play great.
No.
Their
I'm not being
defensemen
positive.
broke down and were terrible, completely
Of course.
choked. Like, it's not great. It was entertaining.
Wings
They were
play
very
great, though?
fun, entertaining games. The Caps did not play great.
Can we all
Did
agree
the Red
on
Wings
this?
play great?
Can we agree
Or
on this?
that-
Take Montreal plus 1.5.
No, that's why the Red Wings
Okay.
are not in the playoffs, because they had
Okay,
look what they had
Right.
to do to play against a non-playoff crap team like Montreal.
I agree. I agree with you. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. They didn't. I'll rephrase because you're right.
No, I'm just being harsh. No, I'm not trying to say they were
I
fun
like when you
games.
do that
They
to
were
me.
entertaining.
Hockey
I
brings
like
out
when you do
the
that to me,
anger.
Gabe.
I love it.
I like it when he does
Hockey.
that.
Yeah,
What
I
is the
love what
difference?
he
You
says.
saw they played two great games. If they would have won
Great, not
5-0 the last two nights, that's why they played two great
Let's
games.
say they played
lost
gritty
twice.
hockey.
I love it.
With
No, I
horrible
love it.
mistakes. They're gritty.
Cam,
All
this
right,
is the thing. When I first started going on Gabe's show, I used to take all
he
this
yells
so
at me, too.
personally, but now I
don't
love
take
it. Now
personally. No, it's good.
Gabe
He
likes
loves
it when
you.
I go back, and I go back. And you're right. The Habs didn't play well, but the Wings certainly didn't either. We can agree on that. They didn't
Yes,
play
we
well
can.
either.
No.
Can we just agree on this? The Montreal Canadiens at plus 1.5 have been the best money bet for like the last while. That's all I got to say. They show up in every game and lose in heartbreaking fashion, to Morency's point. They're
Are
competitive.
either wild card going to stand a chance, guys, in the Eastern Conference? Does either wild card stand a chance?
Yes.
Which one?
I say
Which
yes.
Who?
Go ahead, Cam.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, McInnes, I think the Islanders give Carolina all they can handle. And now the Leafs play Boston. So, Boston fan, you're already coming at me showing repeats of all the collapses in the past. That's fine. I have no expectations going into the playoffs, but I think the Islanders could take the distance here. Even Morency might bet on the Leafs, or he could lie to me. I don't know what he's going to do, but anyway, it's his money, his decision.
I do like the Leafs against the Bruins, but I got to be honest, I really don't like the Bruins.
I don't either.
So I'm a little bit like, I don't know. I think the Leafs are kind of flaky. I don't think the Leafs have what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. I'll put it that way.
Do you watch the game tonight?
I don't think they have the character and the personality, and not their grit. Everyone always talks, they need sandpaper. No, they need their stars to play well in the playoffs. So Austin Matthews, your whatever goals you get, I don't care. Like, you better do this like next week, bro, because all this other crap doesn't matter. And all the losers in the Toronto media that are kissing your ass right now are all going to turn on you next week, kids. So get ready for it.
1-0 Canucks. I love it, Reggie. See, that's
I'm
the
on my
opposite.
playoff hockey A game already. I'm ready to go. I got takes.
My blood pressure's through the roof, and I agree with you, Morency. These stupid Leaf media guys, you're a bunch
70
of clowns.
goals, 70 goals. Who cares? Stop talking
Shut
about it so
up.
much.
Shut up. It doesn't mean anything. Win a playoff series against Boston. Then we'll write a story. How's that? Numbnuts.
All right, so
I'm with you.
Do you guys see those player props for the playoffs? Pretty cool.
Okay,
Some of
hold
these
on.
player props.
Well, we'll get to player props. So just so you talked about the wild cards here. So the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals are the wild cards. And so what? It's going to be the Rangers against the Rangers and the Capitals.
Rangers are going to kill them. Murder them.
Interesting.
That series is going to be an under series. That'll be an under series for sure.
That series is going to be a bloodbath series. There's going to be a lot of fights and the Rangers are trying to set. It's funny. Remember a couple of years ago, the Rangers were soft, right? That's why they brought guys in. Remember Panarin got ragdolled. Someone just took him down. Remember Wilson was like, "Shut up," and he literally threw him to the ice and said, "What? What are we going to do? What are you going to do?" He literally threatened 5 Rangers, and they're all like, "No, nothing, Mr. Wilson." Right now, it's true. Right? They're all like, "Oh, no, he's crazy. He's crazy. Oh,
it's true.
He's dangerous, Tom Wilson." Now the Rangers are like, "Yeah, you know what? Come to our rink. We're going to fight you." Right? Like, that's their big thing now. And the Capitals have never been shy. The Capitals are a bunch of dirty Russian dudes, so they're going to bait it. They're going to bait from a strategic standpoint, guys. If I'm the Capitals, thinking, you know what? How do we win this series? we mouth off, we chirp them, and we get them to take penalties. You know what mechanics like the Habs do to the Bruins in the playoffs in the heyday? That's how the Canadiens used to beat the Bruins, Cam. Bruins were better, but you sort of get under their skin. You get them taking dumb penalties. You get them off their game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Leafs should do that to Florida. Same thing. They should try to get them.
That's the problem with the Leafs. They're not smart enough to do it. That's the problem with this
well, you got to mouth off. They don't have it in them to mouth off. That's the thing. You got to be chirpy and like, suck it, Marchand. Blow me. Right? And you got to do that.
Yeah. I'm sick and tired. They use Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, I'm always hard watching this tonight, Dave. I'm getting angry for hockey.
This guy's got a heart attack. He's getting.
I might. I've had enough. I've had enough of Bruin fan. I go on Perrault's show. Bruins. Leafs suck everywhere. The Bruins own you. Enough. I get it. Things can change, man. It's so personal.
At least you've got one team, though. He's got 2 teams. At least you have one. He cheers for 2 teams, so you've got one team.
And Gabe knows I stick by all my loser teams to the end. No bandwagon jumping.
Remind Matt Perrault. Every great Boston Bruin player is from Ontario or Quebec.
Yeah, you're damn right they are.
Suck on that.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
31-22 after the first quarter for the Sacramento Kings. These guys didn't screw around, eh? Like, I figured they would wait a couple of minutes after the last game. Like, they were already, they tipped off. They were ready to go. So the Kings, nice first quarter. Golden State not panicking. Let's check the in-game total right now. And the in-game number, it's right basically where we started, 222.5. Sacramento are now -2.5, -200 on the money line. Let's check in on the diamond right now. Diamond's in the rough. The Los Angeles Dodgers had the bases loaded in the first inning. They got one run. Now they have runners on first and second in the bottom of the second. We'll see if they can bust this thing open. But it's pretty crazy, guys. The Dodgers are -650 favorites right now, and they're only up 1-0.
I'm not taking Washington.
Mookie Betts on the on-deck circle. If you recall last night, Cam, I gave the Chicago Cubs in game at +150. They won the game, too.
Yes, they did.
I basically said, hey, you got a 1-1. Like, sometimes you bet the number, guys. Not YouTube, but everyone tuning in. You have a 1-1 game. Like I said last night, it's a 1-1 game and you're in the seventh inning. And I got +160 with one team. And it's like, I get it if it's a really terrible team and stuff. The Cubs aren't terrible. Like, the Cubs and D-backs are equally matched teams. So I get equally matched teams, and I'm getting +160 in a tie game. They end up winning the game. It's not going to always work, but it did there. Dodgers now up 2-0 right now. All right, let's smoke these guys after last night's debacle.
Well, Gabe, my commitment to the Sharks
another one
at +7.5 and 8.5. Here we go.
Wall, baby.
Let's go. Open the floodgates, boys.
Did I tell you last night, McInnes? I took San Jose +4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and then I smashed 7.5 and 8.5 and won.
Wow.
So there's
I'm an idiot.
So there's Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases is hit because that's the second hit of the game. So cash that, baby. Mookie Betts, it's 3-0 now. The Dodgers got this thing going. Let's keep it rolling here now. You got Ohtani coming up and then Freeman. Let's get some more props. And let me just do a quick prop check here. So Betts has cashed because he's got 2 hits. Let's see what else is going on here.
Did Betts just get an RBI there, Gabe?
Yes.
So I had Mookie Betts over 0.5 runs batted in, Rojas over 0.5 runs batted in. And I have my biggest bet of the game, though. I've got the team total over for the Dodgers, but I have Corbin under 15.5 outs. So he's got to get absolutely destroyed and then get him out of the game.
I like.
Hopefully they don't just keep him in there, right? That's the worst part.
At this pace, you're looking good, right? I don't know what's his pitch count up to right now. Oh, dear God. Yeah, it's a good bet, McInnes. Dude, he's already thrown 39 pitches, guys. He's only in the second inning.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what the Dodgers do, like when they're in a bad mood. Like they'll just – it's one after another at the top of the order. The bottom of the order, though, the bottom of the order, it lacks something to be desired, we will say. Okay, so the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, let's go, Freddie. Let's get this prop. Oh, there's Freddie just smoked one. See? He got all of it, but he line drived it to center field. 4-0 Dodgers after 2 innings. Let's go, LA.
Excellent.
Vancouver Canucks are winning 2-0, guys. I got 2 parlays waiting to cash. And how about this for patience? Because I could see the play from when I made it. I put a play in on the Vermont Catamounts to beat New Hampshire on February 15th and the Vancouver Canucks to win a division.
Smart.
So that's 2 months I waited for this, actually.
Oh, you're growing as a person, Morency. I'm impressed.
I got the Canucks at a better price this way. It was one of those, I knew Vermont were going to win, and I knew I wanted to bet Vancouver to win a division. So it's like, I'll just bet them both. And I got another one, which is funny. I got a kick out of it. I got a laugh when I saw it. It's a $262 bet, pays back like $500 on a PWHL game from February, under 6.5, and the Canucks to win a division.
Wow.
So this will pay off
You're
tonight,
always
baby.
keeping me guessing. You're always keeping me guessing, Gabe.
Unless you get hit by a car. I like this, Morency. This new patience game you're running. This is very different from the Gabe I know. Very impressive. You're growing. That's you never had patience to do that before. Growth.
Well, I played a lot more futures over the last couple of years. But you're right. Years ago, I wouldn't do something like that. Mm-hmm. But now
I
do.
Wager Talk does that. A guy Wager Talk, he bets parlays every play he's going to bet during the week. He's like, Max Verstappen and this bet and Max Verstappen. When it was like an automatic parlay piece, now the odds are out of control. But if he likes, let's say he likes the Yankees money line, he's putting the Yankees money line with Max Verstappen. Like, he just finds all these, like, he does so many sports. His name is Andy. He works at wagertalk.com. He literally will be like, I like this PFL fighter this weekend, so I'm going to parlay him with all kinds of bets throughout the week. And let's be honest, Gabe, we always talk about this, man. We're going to bet every day anyway, right? Are you mad you had to wait?
I did it.
Who cares?
I did it last week with the Birmingham Stallions. I had the Birmingham Stallions at the back end of like 10. Everything I played all the time, I was like Birmingham Stallions, Birmingham Stallions, Birmingham Stallions. That's the way to go. And I know Andy does have a diversified portfolio. I like that stuff. The one I don't do, and that's where this is where the big money one is at. And this one is real patience, though, is like you pick the winner of the Masters, the winner of the Stanley Cup Finals, the winner of the NBA Finals, the winner of the NCAA Championship, the winner, like, you just go for it. And that's when you see, like, we saw a guy cash the other day. You know, it was like $122,000 for $200. It was like, you know, he had the Kansas City Chiefs future to win the Super Bowl. He had Scotty Scheffler to win the Masters. He had UConn to win the championship. You got to be patient to do it, but like a good example is like the two championships. I had UConn. I also had South Carolina. So there was two, and there was another one. What was the other one too? You talk about Max Verstappen. Verstappen has won every race except for one. Yeah, I had Scheffler, the Masters as well. So stretching it out. And over the years, I used to always do it. I've done pretty well with it too. The NBA, this is a good one, McKinnis. You do the who you think is going to win the NBA Finals and who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup. Parlay together. So who would you say right now?
I'm pretty high on the Dallas Stars.
I'll tell you what the odds are.
I'm pretty high on the Dallas Stars, and I got to say the Nuggets, honestly.
Yeah, that's my pick as well. I got Denver and Dallas. I got Dallas playing Carolina in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's what I've been telling people for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I'll give my final stuff. All right, so to win outright.
Two teams that are due, Gabe. Two teams that have been through the ringer the past 3 or 4 years. And you have to go through it.
What about a team that's due and they haven't won since 1994? The New York Rangers. Are we sleeping on the Rangers? And the thing is, the Rangers won the President's Cup, which is not a good thing, right? Do you guys know the last team to won the Stanley Cup that won the President's Cup had the best regular season record?
Who?
No.
The Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
10 years ago.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't. Only 8 teams in the history of the NHL have won the President's Cup and the Stanley Cup. It's a graveyard. You lose. It's almost like it just is. But the only thing I will say, the Rangers won the President's Cup in 1994 when they won. So there's a little synergy if you're a Ranger fan.
Well, when Tampa won the President's Trophy, they got swept by Columbus. Remember that? Yeah,
yes.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Boston won the President's Cup last year, Cam. They lost in the first round to Florida.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, it's a dangerous game.
You know, Gabe, I liked the odds, and I liked New York as a whole at the start of the season. They were kind of a team that I was talking up on every show I was doing. You know how you were saying about the Leafs, like their thing is that they have to have their star players play well? I think it's like the opposite for the Rangers. They know those guys are going to be there. They need the other guys to play well. Like Alexis Lafreniere and that crew has to step up. And also, they got to score more 5-on-5 goals. It can't be a power play game. I mean, do you guys know that since the All-Star break, Cody Ceci has the same number of goals as Nikita Kucherov? Some teams are just good on the power play, right? Tampa, New York, you got to be able to score 5-on-5. Cody Ceci, same amount of goals as Nikita Kucherov.
Why'd the Leafs get rid of Ceci? They got him for nothing. They got him for a bag of pucks. And they're getting rid of this guy? He's actually playing pretty good. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, I just don't get it. Hey, Morency, I talked to a colleague of ours, Camera 2, Drew. He thinks the Jets beat the Avalanche in 5. I go, what? He thinks the Jets are going to win that series and destroy Colorado. I'm like,
I have Jets futures, Cam. I got Jets futures.
You think they're going to win that series?
I think
just
it goes
for the record,
deep.
The Dallas Stars and the Denver Nuggets both to win the championship, 33-1. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow, that's nice. Wow. That's a
plus, yeah, plus 3,300. Dallas Stars to win the Cup, Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship. Pretty crazy.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, once you get to like the conference finals for both teams, you're feeling pretty good about that. You're feeling like, you're in a good position, you're in a good spot. And I think the thing is about the NHL is that you need teams that are going to be able to withstand the physicality, withstand the bumps and bruises. Let's be real here, guys. Doesn't every team that makes it all the way have a key player that gets injured? I hate to be like that guy that says something so dark, but it's true. How many teams in the league right now can lose their starting goaltender?
Yeah. Look at Giannis in the NBA. They haven't started yet. You have a massive injury impact with the NBA playoffs. You're right. Connor McDavid goes down. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt, and there'll be upsets. Everybody thinks we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'd like more value with Vancouver. Vancouver's only 10-1 right now. A Denver Nugget, Vancouver Canuck. You figure you get more. It's 43-1 for the championship.
That's how the Blues won the Stanley Cup, Gabe. We talked about it. All they did, game after game after game, wasn't about the talent. They just even when they lost, they beat you up. They beat you up. They beat you up. And then Boston at the end is like, we surrender, because the Blues were just the toughest team, and they just hurt everybody. That's the whole key. That's why you got to take a team they got depth and guys who can, like, the wear and tear animals.
So
the Jets' price is shocking, though, guys. Plus 115.
They're plus 110. Plus 110 right now, I see. You're taking the Jets.
You guys
to beat
like
the Avs?
that? Anyone that likes the Jets, this is one play I wanted to make sure I gave out here on the show today. If anybody likes the Jets to even have a chance, there's one play that's really interesting to me, and it's plus 135, 140 for Connor Hellebuyck to record at least one game with 40 or more saves. You're not telling me this team will get a lead and pack it in and take in all kinds of shots from the outside. 40 saves? Are you kidding me? When they played against the Vegas Golden Knights in the playoffs, he had several games with 40 saves. To me, he makes or breaks that team. I think that you can get plus 135 versus plus 110, and they don't even have to win the series, and you can win your bet. I really like that,
if
guys.
The game goes to overtime, you're laughing.
Yeah. You're right, Cam.
I'm looking here. I'm trying to put together a parlay with these two series prices. Alternate handicap, but it's a little pricey. Like the Carolina Hurricanes plus 1.5 in the series, and the Winnipeg Jets plus 1.5 in the series is minus 132. What do you think the Canes? So what's your pick, McKiss? Well, here you go on the other side. You say the Jets are going to beat the Avs? You think they're going to advance?
I think they have a chance.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. We're kicking it. We're going to get McKinnis out of here in a couple of minutes. We asked him for a pick, put his name on it. He goes, "Well, they have a chance." That's like a Bob McKenzie move. Well, the Leafs could win, but on the other hand, Florida are really good.
I hate that stuff too. Make a damn pick.
No, I like Bob. I'm just stating, like, well, they could. If they do this, they'll win, but if they don't, they won't. It's like, okay, well, that's not helping. It's not a pick.
I got 150
but they're
bucks on
not
them to
paid
win
to
the
get
cup.
picked, so I understand that. But you are.
I bet the Jets to win the cup. So what do you think I'm thinking? I mean, I'm
okay,
committed to them to win the.
So maybe I'll come around on this.
I'm taking the Jets.
I don't trust the Jets. The Jets are like perennial chokers. But I get it. The Avalanche are beat up. The Avs aren't the same team. They're a one-line operation. I understand. They're not great defensively. They're not great at the back end. So Carolina and the Islanders. What's your pick, McKinnis? How many games?
I'm going to say Carolina in 5. Carolina in 5. I think that Carolina protects home ice. I think the Islanders win the first game back at home, and that we see the third game or the fourth game come to Carolina, and then they take it back at home. I think 4-1 for Carolina. I've already bet -135 and wins the series.
At Colorado, Winnipeg, you're on the Winnipeg Jets, baby. Those are the only 2 series prices. But we do know. We know the Bruins are playing the Leafs, right? So what's your pick there?
I'm going to wait to see which team loses the first game. That's going to be an in-game series for me. I honestly, Gabe, I have no clue right now. At the point, I think the Bruins are too physical. I think it's tough for the Leafs right now. But I'm gonna if the Leafs lose game 1, I might jump in and take them at a plus price after that. But it's going to be real tough for them. Sorry,
here right now.
I can't make a strong pick, but I want them to move on, man.
I've got game 1 lines, but not series prices here. I'm looking. Thanks, McKinnis.
Thanks, guys.